Today, we're going to be going over everything that we know so far with XZ. I invited on low-level learning, so I hope that you stick around and enjoy it. And we're going to go deep into the bash scripts. They're incredibly interesting, so you got to check it out, so stay around. First off, for anyone who doesn't know, right now we have LLL on the phone, commonly referred to as low-level learning, which you wanted to just be called low-level at one point, right?
Yeah, I'm having a bit of an identity crisis with regard to my title, but I think low-level learning will stick for right now, so we're good. We're good.
Okay, well, let's go to low-level learning. I'm going to bring up your YouTube really quickly. Tell everybody to go follow it. Right here, low-level learning. You do all the awesome things on security and some memes on C's and some various like things that have gone wrong in programming and things like that. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's anything from software development to software security to happenings in cybersecurity. Hence the XZ situation.
Okay, nice. And would you like to? What have you done in your security world to
So my day job. So everyone on YouTube and Twitch, much smarter than me, they actually write the code. So what I do instead is I read the code and I look at binaries and source code, and I'm like, hey. This piece of code here is unsecure, write a report for it. I'm a security researcher, right? So instead of writing the code, I find the bugs in the code and make sure people know that their code can be breakable. So yeah, so it's a good time.
All right, so so you've been doing this, and how long have you been doing it for?
I've been in the community since 2012, but doing it full time since 2016.
Okay, and you can't really talk about your job, so
yeah. Basically, all of our clients give us like fancy NDAs, so I can't talk about like specifics of what we find. But I can say like I get code, I get binaries, I take them apart and find cool bugs.
Lots of reverse engineering, a lot of taking apart stuff.
Oh yeah, it's a good time, man.
Okay, do they at least like give you somebody that also wrote it, or do you just like here's a binary, bye?
It depends, right? Sometimes we get the actual source code and like an engineer to talk through, but a lot of it is a black box red team assessment. So it's like, hey, you get nothing, go look at it, and see what you can find from an adversarial mindset, as opposed to if you had an insight to it, it would bias where you would look, right? Because the engineer wrote it with a bias, but if you come in with no bias, you're going to look at places that they didn't even think about, right? So it's pretty cool.
Okay, very, very cool. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so you're an experienced individual, and we are going to, let's see, hold on. Let me find someone actually D's nuts me so good. So I know you already have a video on this, but I'm going to go over this to begin with. This is like the original thread that set off this entire thing, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm actually, so I assume this Andres guy didn't really realize the level in which he was kind of releasing about how much crap would happen right afterwards.
Yeah.
Because like GitHub right now, last time I checked, you can't even look at the repository right now.
Yep.
It's completely disabled.
Yeah,
like this one issue just exploded everything.
They disabled the XZ repo. They disabled the account of the malicious contributor and also the main maintainer of XZ, because there's a rumor, and again, unsubstantiated rumor, that they're all in cahoots with each other, right? They're working together. So they've disabled the main maintainer and Gia10's accounts on GitHub. It's wild.
Dang. Okay, so there's a lot of questions here. So just to go over it, this is how he discovered it, which is hilarious, the way that he discovered it. Hi, and after observing a few odd symptoms around libLZMA, which, by the way, libLZMA, we use, I believe, LZHAM or something like that at Netflix, so it's just a compression algorithm library, right, that has various, I think there's, like, LZ is, like, the original. It's just a bunch of people's names, right?
Yeah.
All right, sorry. Just some diplomacy. That's all.
Diplomacy, classic.
Yeah. Wife is currently out. We have a property she's renovating. My wife does all the physical manual labor. She's not only beautiful,
like a general contractor.
She's also handy. Where the term "handysome" comes from is someone that was good with working physically with their hands, and so handsome is handysome, which is they were able to fix things. My wife is also handsome, so she's pretty awesome.
A handsome wife, that's awesome.
I have a handsome wife. Yeah, I just said that out loud. All right. Anyways, Flip, take that out. Don't put that in, Flip. My wife is beautiful. All right, after observing a few odd symptoms around libLZMA, part of the ZX or XZ package on Debian SID installations over the last weeks, logins with SSH taking a lot of the CPU and Valgrind errors, I figured out the answer. The upstream XZ repository and the XZ tarballs have been backdoored. And so then he goes through like how he investigated it, what versions, 5.6 and 5.6.0 and 5.6.1. Here's the tarballs and all that. And where it comes down to, which is super, super interesting, and I think you highlighted this in a video. By the way, I looked at this, and I was just like, man, this is some crazy code right here. Like, how could anyone read this? Because for those that don't know, you are literally just cutting out sections, like 1024 at a time out of a file, and then you're also cutting like this amount of lines out. If you don't know, for those that don't know, head, anytime if you had a, like, if I had a file that's like foo bar Baz, and I go head 1, it just prints out the first line. So like they're doing some pretty wild stuff. Like this statement is, I could not even follow this at all.
What's insane is that like the backdoor, the way that it's packaged as a fuzz test case that you're supposed to use,
which is brilliant.
LibLZMA. So it's going to look like garbage, but he hid his backdoor in this fake LZMA stream, and then this script is cutting it into pieces and extracting the one piece that is the malicious object. It's absolutely genius.
It is absolutely genius.
At the top of the script, at the top of the list, the only reason this got found is because a security engineer at Microsoft noticed, SSH is taking half a second more than usual. Let's go figure out what's going on. And then he's like, oh, I discovered an APT trying to backdoor open source. Like, absolutely insane.
It is crazy. I think the biggest thing to take away that I've never even once thought about is the fact that they backdoored in the testing part of it, where no one's going to look. No one's going to look at testing code.
Right.
They're going to, like, where's the problem? Well, the problem's in the code, right? So let's look at the code. And this one, on the other hand, takes, effectively, to summarize it, is it overrides the linker on a couple calls and backdoors the RSA decode, right? To where they can backdoor their own. I think you mentioned it, something along the lines of being able to grab out just like their public key and go, okay, this person gets super duper permissions.
That's the assumption right now, right? Is like people are thinking like, okay, they're rerouting RSA public decrypt. So obviously what they're doing is they're waiting for a known public key and then doing backdoor functionality. But because of how obfuscated and how complicated the backdoor is, no one really has the full functionality yet. It's all a lot of speculation and assumptions. So it's going to come out as people begin to RE and do more work on it. But right now it's very much like, okay, we know RSA public decrypt is rerouted. That's kind of all we know right now.
Bam. And the big thing is it's so obfuscated. Right now you have tens of thousands of hobbyists / experts looking at this code. And right now there's still no updated information after 4 days?
4 or so days, yeah. There are people on GitHub that are putting out okay, I reverse engineered this function, I think it does this, but there is no holistic write-up of end to end what the backdoor does, because it's that complex, which is amazing.
It is pretty amazing, because usually I would assume a lot of these things, once you know where it's at, once you know what's going on, it's somewhat trivial to get it starting to unravel it. Whereas this one, they know exactly where to look, and they're just like, I can't even look at it. It's that complex. It's like,
well, the genius part is not a lot of people know how compression works, right? So if you look at a compression library in Ghidra or IDA, you're going to see a bunch of nonsense and structures. You're not going to really be able to just objectively look at it and see, oh, I know what that does. So then if you take that and you take obfuscated features of a backdoor, it looks like the original code. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do you determine that that's the backdoor feature and that's the actual compression feature?
Yeah. Yeah, and compression code is in itself extremely complex as it is. Right. So beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Then it eventually figures it out. This causes the whole GitHub repo to go down. It's all hidden in test code, which is just amazing, and it caused an extra slowdown. Really, the only real oopsie daisy was causing the slowdown. So if that slowdown would have never happened, this backdoor would have lived on.
Yeah, so this is where it kind of begs a really scary question about open source, right? Is this person, the only reason they got caught is because someone observed their code with a slowdown, right? So the way that it works, it searches the memory space of the process for the elf header and checks to see if that elf is the linker, and then does that for every elf, right? So it's basically like O of N scanning the process image memory space, which is very slow. But this guy got caught, which is pretty scary, right? But where else has this person committed code? Is this person a persona of many personas that are doing the same thing to other code that Microsoft researchers aren't looking, right? So where else are there binary blobs that are getting linked into public repos? It's absolutely terrifying.
And not only that, but you can't, this also now just implanted the idea. So let's just pretend this guy had a completely novel approach to things, and no one else has ever thought about doing it through this route. This is now a new vector that has just opened up in that kind of sense, where people are going to start doing this, which is going to make it even more difficult.
It makes it more popular, but also it's going to put a lot bigger of criticism on binary commits, right? I personally believe that you should never be committing binary code anywhere, because for me, when I'm using open source software, the whole point of it is I should be able to reproduce the binary via the source code. Why would I ever, as an open source maintainer, accept a binary blob? Now, I know that this is a test file, quote unquote, so there's kind of justification for there, but you should be able to have the source code that proves you produce the test file. You know what I mean? The idea of getting a binary blob is odd to me.
Yeah, I mean, the hard part, again, hashing or a compression library, it's here's a specific difficult binary to compress, and this is why it's better.
Right.
I can totally
exactly.
see why. Because if you try to produce it in code, it's literally going to be a bunch of binary symbols in code. And so it's like, is that any more understandable at the end of the day?
Sure. No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But if you're looking right here, they make it extremely difficult to even replicate it. So obviously, like if you link LZMA with like the backdoor version against any binary, it's not going to run on every binary, right? The backdoor is written to only trigger on those conditions. So you're not in a terminal. Your argv is SSHD. You have no debug LD set, no LD profile set, and the lang has to be set. So basically, it's like specifically targeting so that it can't be debugged, and it's running in a server environment on SSHD. It's really, really sophisticated. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. You know, oh my goodness, yeah. It's quite wild. So anyway, so they ended up figuring it out that there's some basic things that all end up happening, and we won't go into all of those details quite yet because I think there's a lot more that has just come out in the last couple of days. But this is the original one. I can link out the original one for everyone to go check out. Here you go for everyone that's wanting to go check that out. So this is rather impressive, right? And so for this to happen, it required them to build. It required it to be built on the system. You couldn't just simply apt install it. You had to grab down the tarball and install it. Is that how it effectively ran?
So yeah, so the commits or the malicious commits were not made to version control. They were only put into the release tarballs of the XC library, right? So basically, if you have a version of software that depends on libzma 560 or 561 that was built by a package maintainer through the release tarballs, you're vulnerable. You're being attacked, right? But if you went like git clone repo tag 560 561, you're not going to be attacked because those tarballs are not in the actual version control itself, which is kind of weird. I think that was done primarily to obfuscate the binary itself and to give the research community less of a surface to look at. But obviously it got caught anyway. So
okay, follow up. People love speculation. People love it. Like anytime there's a hack, remember like the Apex hack, everyone's just like, we are now getting backdoored on everyone's last computer through easy anti-cheat or whatever it was, and all that kind of stuff. And then everyone jumps on stuff, and a lot of people get bullied, and Respawn gets just completely crapped on for no reason. People are asking about state-sponsored hacking. Is there any evidence that is this, or is that pure just speculation?
No, it's all speculation. The only evidence would be the sophistication and someone playing the long game, right? Like literally, if you look at the Git history of this guy, he's been building trust with the XZ maintainers since 2021, which is pretty impressive, right? So he's literally been a regular contributor to XZ since 2021, doing not only code commits, but like fixing translation errors. And then if you look at his commit history within the last couple of weeks, he's like, okay, boom, 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 here are my malicious commits, right? So for someone to play the long game and to be a quote-unquote cyber criminal or a crypto criminal or whatever is very unlikely, versus it's more likely that either a nation state or some bigger, like ransomware corporation, like I forget what the name of the one that just got rolled up, the one in Russia, but one of those bigger people that have a lot to lose or a lot to gain and are willing to spend, the 3 years of resources to get somebody on the inside, right?
Yeah. So whoever it was, whoever did it all, regardless if someone's account got hacked to make him start getting these commits, all that kind of stuff. It seems, I guess the other possible answer is that he got hacked at the last minute, but was away and didn't look at his account. But I feel like that one's the least likely because he probably would have at some point realized, well, wait a second, I'm getting a lot of emails here. Something seems a little goofy. What are all these commits going on here? So I doubt that one. So it does seem like it literally is someone who played a very long game, which means that there has to be some level of sponsorship,
right?
Or he's independently, he can be independent of taking this time. I guess has the time to spare on it. That's the other possible answer, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to jump to sponsorship.
Is independently playing the long game, right? Like he's just like, wouldn't it be cool if I could get in and do this crazy thing and then I have my own personal backdoor? But I don't know, from like a rational human being standpoint, like the other side is like, okay, cool, and then you go to jail for like 50 years. Like I would not take that risk, unless somebody were going to hand me a bag with like $1 million in it. Then it's like, okay, well, maybe I take
really $1 million for 50 years. I doubt that.
I live in America where $1 million is like $20 in the 1990s. But maybe if you're in a foreign country, that's a little more money. I don't know.
Okay. So you plan to go to Costa Rica right afterwards?
Yeah, right. There you go. Pull a little John McAfee and then suicide myself.
Okay. Definitely suicide yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're going to kind of skip over this. I assume there's been a lot of videos. A lot of people have discussed this. You have a wonderful video on it, which is very concise. What was it, 6 minutes long? It was
8:30.
done.
I got over that YouTube 8-minute mark. You know what I mean?
Okay, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Loved it. And so here's the everything we need to know about. Have you read any of this?
This I have skimmed. I have not read it in depth. No.
Okay, so I'll just start reading it, and we can stop at points whenever you want anything to talk about. Updating at the speed of light, blink once and a word could be gone. These nodes are erratic, unstable, dangerous, but that's why they are fun. Okay, so it's going to be maybe even updated as we read. Please note, this is being updated in real time. The intent is to make sense of a lot of simultaneous discoveries regarding this backdoor. Last updated 10:30 p.m. EST. I'm not sure what 10:30 is. They don't give a day.
Yeah, I'm assuming yesterday, but I'm not sure.
Yesterday Eve, maybe. All right, so 2021, Jaya T75, Jaya Tan creates their GitHub account. Okay, so this is in 2021. Their first commit is to they make are not to XZ, but they are deeply suspicious. Specifically, they open a PR in lib archive, added error text to a warning when untarring with BSD tar. This commit does little more than it says. It replaces safe fprint with an unsafe variant, potentially introducing another vulnerability. The code was merged without any discussion and lives on to this day. Patched. Oh, interesting. Yeah, like how big is this like nest? That's crazy. Okay, so sounds like pre-planned. Like the intention of this account was to cause harm or havoc.
Yeah, and it's like maybe this was him testing the waters, right? Like, hey, if I make a malicious commit, how many people are going to notice? You know what I mean? And it looks like, oh, yeah, it looks good to me, merge. And then he's like, okay, cool. So now I have kind of the green light to begin my long con.
And not only that, but you also have maybe a little bit of credit, right? Oh, this guy, yeah, he committed to whatever it's called, lib something. Anytime you already have something with the word lib in front of it, which means that you're doing pretty good there, right? Lib archive, right? All right, 2022. In April 2022, Jaitan submits a patch via a mailing list. The patch is irrelevant, but the events that follow are a new persona, Jigar Kumar, enters and begins pressuring for this patch to be merged. Ooh. Soon after, Jigar Kumar begins pressuring Lassa Collin to add another maintainer to XZ. In the fallout, we learn a little bit about the mental health in open source. Ooh.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Interesting.
I've heard some comments about that. Effectively, the things I've seen is that the XZ maintainer was effectively super burnt out, and users have been super hostile. So standard open source, right?
Yeah, right.
And just like completely burning out and just accepting. You know, like you get to that point where it no longer matters. And so, anyways, 3 days after.
Sorry, like I said before, Last Colin is the one whose account is currently disabled. So Last Colin, like the maintainer of XZ and Jayatan, both are currently suspended on GitHub.
Okay, interesting. 3 days after the emails pressuring Last Colin to add another maintainer, Jayat75 makes their first commit to XZ. Tests, created tests for hardware functions. Since this commit, they became a regular contributor to XZ. They are currently the second most active. It's unclear exactly when they became trusted in this repository. Jagar Kumar is never seen again. Sunsetted. Another account, Dennis Ends, also participates in pressure with a similar name plus number formatted email. This account is also never seen outside of XZ discussion, and both do not have any associated accounts that have been discovered.
Yeah, super sussy, right? So if we're talking about a world of like personas and like this Jayatan guy may or may not exist, maybe he's also just another member of an army that are, you know, trying to pressure Last Colin, who is notably burnt out and maybe mental health issues, right, to do something he would not otherwise do. Allow Jayatan to contribute code, which is insane.
Dang. All right, Glyph. I really hope that this causes an industry-wide reckoning with the common practice of letting your entire goddamn project rest on the shoulders of one overworked person having a slow mental health crisis without financially or operationally supporting them whatsoever. I want everyone who has an open source dependency to read this message. So there's a message about this, so this could be pretty interesting right here. So this must be mentioning... this is Lass. All right. Jigar Kumar wrote, progress will not happen until there is a new maintainer. XZ for C has sparse commit log 2. Dennis, you are better off waiting until new maintainer happens or fork yourself. Submitting patches here has no purpose these days. The current maintainer lost interest or doesn't care to maintain anymore. It is sad to see for a repo like this. So that's like this must be the precursor for Last to...
Yeah, effectively gaslighting him, right? Like, you don't care about your repo. Fuck you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you should get somebody else in here. Oh, come hang out with my cousin Giatan or whatever. Like, he can help
I
you
know
out.
of a perfect fella to overtake it for you.
Yeah.
All right, I haven't lost interest, but my ability to care has been fairly limited, mostly due to long-term mental health issues, but also due to some other things. Recently, I've worked off-list a bit with Jayatan on XZ utils, and perhaps he will have a bigger role in the future. We'll see. It's also good to keep in mind that this is an unpaid hobby project. I mean, this right here is just, it is devastating how much open source is just hobby projects with people just getting rinsed from people who use it.
And why do that? Because you care, right? People who like genuinely give a crap about open source, and then guys like this come in and be like, you don't care about this repo, and it's like, okay, dude, sorry, like you caught me, I guess, like whatever.
Anyways, I assure you that I know far too well about the problem that not much progress has been made. The thought of finding new maintainers has existed for a long time too, as the current situation is obviously bad and sad for the project. The new XZ-util stable branch should get released this year with threaded decoder, etc., and a few alpha beta releases before that. Perhaps the moment after 5.4 release would be a convenient moment to make changes in the list of project maintainers. Forks are obviously another possibility, and I cannot control that. If those happen, I hope the file format changes are done so that no silly problems occur, like using the same ID for different things in two projects. 7-Zip supports XZ, and keeping its developers Igor Pavlov informed about the format changes, including new filters, is important too. Dang, okay, so mentioning just like the difficulty of maintaining an open source project.
Yeah, and trying to come up with like solutions too. He's like, hey, you guys can fork this, but like note that that's also like not a fix all. It's also hard. You have to keep the rest of the community involved with like the changes to the XZ spec, right? So he gives a crap. He's really trying to come up with ways to make this work, but getting gaslit by the rest of the community is not helpful.
Yeah. And so I have a slightly hard time believing that the long con involves this guy as well, though maybe. I mean, it would be incredible if that was actually a part of the long con, was this entire messaging. Was just like even he's involved
him being involved is like, again, conspiratorial and speculation as well. I think that's why he got suspended, not because they know it's happening. It's because like it's a possibility, and they're trying to prevent any additional spread of a backdoor like this if he were involved in this or others. Yeah,
I'm sure chat has a bunch of. I'm sure a bunch of people have a bunch of things to say about this, but we're not going to look at them. All right, anyways, we'll keep going. All right, 2023. Jayat75 merges their first commit on January 7th, 2003, which gives us a good indication into when they fully gained trust. In March, the primary contact email in Google OSS fuzz is updated to be Jaya's instead of Last Colin. Okay, so Last is he's looking for a way out at this point.
Yeah.
Been doing it for long enough. Time to kind of back away. Testing infrastructure that will be used in this exploit is committed. Despite Last Colin being attributed as the author for this, Jayatan committed it, and it was originally written by Hans Jensen in June. Okay, so I don't know this Hans Jensen fella. We haven't seen this name get mentioned.
Yeah, so I don't know a ton of the details about this guy. They mentioned it, I think, later in the article here. But the idea is that there's another guy, Hans Jensen, that pops up, and it's like either Jayatan is Hans Jensen or they're in cahoots. But he makes his account just to do this pull request.
Okay, yeah. A Hans Jensen account was seemingly made specifically to create this pull request. There is very little activity before and after. They will later push for a compromised version of XZ to be included in Debian. Okay, so that's all it is. It's a sock puppet account, likely, or something along those lines. In July, a PR was opened in OSS Fuzz to disable iFunk for fuzzing builds due to the issues introduced by the changes above. This appears to be deliberate to mask the malicious changes that will be introduced soon. Also, JIT75 opened an issue about a warning in Clang that, while indeed incorrect, drew attention to iFunks.
Yeah, so in glibc, there's a function called ifuncs where effectively you can do operator overloading type things like C++, but in C functions, right? So you can have multiple implementations of the same function, and the use of the ifunc is how they included the malicious CRC64 resolve that is the backdoor, right? So Jayatan effectively made changes to OSS fuzz to ignore ifuncs so that when he later committed his XZ backdoor, it would not be fuzzed by OSS fuzz. Like it wouldn't be caught by the security repo, which is insane, right? Like again, long game talking. Like he did this well before he made this commit.
This is July. March. Oh, July. Yeah, this is in July 2023. So that is what, 11 months ago, 10 months
9
ago?
months.
Yeah, that's a long time. This is a long time. This is a long con right here. A pull request for Google's OSS fuzz is opened. That changes the URL for the project from Tucani. Is that how you say that? Tucani org xz to Tucani org xl. Oh my goodness. xz-tucani.org zx xz utils. I cannot. The dyslexia really kicks in when there's a lot of letters. All right. Is hosted at this address in Finland at this hosting company. The XZ subdomain, meanwhile, points to GitHub pages. This furthers the amount of control Jaya has over the project. A commit containing the final steps required to execute this backdoor is added to the repository. Tests a few test files and updated the 2 test files. Okay, so you added a bunch of really complex tests, and then you make a small update that is the kind of final stroke in delivering it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think the first one was the 560 commit, and then the second one is the 561 commit that actually fixed broken features in the 560 commit. I might be mixing those up. But yeah, like the way that he's obfuscating this is like no one cares about software testing to begin with. But then if I commit binary testing files that I'm using to fuzz LZMA and I'm just a security guy, like no one's going to check my math. They're like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, here you go. Go ahead and commit it.
It doesn't even show up. Like binary files also don't even show up, and it's effectively impossible to hand eyeball a binary file. So a good large compressed LZMA, you're like, oh yeah, I guess that's it's good, it's large.
yeah, I believe you. It looks big. Done. Like that looks good to me.
That is pretty large, I will say. Dang, man, that is quite the long game on that one. Yeah, hand eyeball. Okay, maybe I didn't say that correctly. Wow. I mean, this is all very shocking to me because this is I didn't realize how big this was. All right, and so that's currently the information, wild. I guess, that we know.
So they no,
there's more.
The inclusion.
There's more.
Or just the discovery.
There's still a lot more. Holy cow. Okay, I thought this was the end. I thought this was the author. All right, an email is sent to the OSS security mailing list, backdoor in upstream XE lib LZMA, leading to SSH server compromise, announcing this discovery and doing its best to explain the exploit chain. I was doing some micro benchmarking at the time, needed to quiesce the system to reduce noise. What is it?
No, it's quiesce. You're right. I'm good.
Are you messing with me?
I'm hungry, so I said quiche, but it is quiesce. You're right.
Okay. I'm also hungry. The system to reduce noise. Saw SSHD processes were using a surprising amount of CPU despite immediately failing because of the wrong usernames, etc. Profile D SSHD showing lots of CPU time in lib LZMA with perf unable to attribute it to a symbol. Okay, got suspicious. Man, that is like the biggest thing right here. Got suspicious. Like, how crazy is that you saw some time in a compression library and you're like, yeah, that's probably something bad.
Yeah, I need to reemphasize like how important it is that this guy is like the Giga Chad that he is, right? Because if not for him profiling SSHD because he noticed it was a little slow, he would have missed a backdoor that would have gone into every major Linux distribution for God knows how long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely insane that this guy caught it.
Recalled that I have seen an odd Valgrind complaint in automated testing of Postgres a few weeks earlier after package updates. Really required a lot of coincidences. Yeah, man. A gist has been published with a very good high-level technical overview and a what you need to know. In addition to the gist, the email above, the number of analysis attempts have begun. Okay, then a whole bunch of people are all jumping in. A sudden push for inclusion. Request for the vulnerable version to be included in Debian is opened by Hans. Okay, so this is when we start getting the push. Hans, the sock puppet account, is now coming in.
Right.
This request is opened the same week Hans' Debian GitLab account was created. The account created with a few similar update requests in various low-traffic repositories to build credibility after asking for this one. Okay, so he's just trying to look like he's not suspicious at all?
Yeah, right.
A number of other suspicious anonymous name plus number accounts with little former activity also pushed for this inclusion, including Miso Eater 91. And Krygorin 4545 and Krygorin 4545's PGP keys was made 2 days before joining the discussion. Man.
Yeah, so army of bots trying to be like, hey, this looks legit. Like, I'm not this other guy. Please include this code into Debian. You know?
Funny you should say that. Also convenient to me. Miso Eater 91. Very, very excited about this specific thing.
Right.
Also seeing this bug, extra Valgrind output causes some failed tests for me. Looks like a new version will resolve it. Would like this new version so I can continue work. I noticed this last week and almost made a Valgrind bug. Glad to see the bug fixed. Thanks, Hans.
And you just picture this guy, he's like in his basement and he has like all of his like different personas. He's like, oh, thanks, Hans. Oh, thanks, Miso Eater. Like he's just one dude with like 38 different identities.
Miso Eater! Hey,
yeah. Right. But yeah, so these people are faking like they found bugs in it. I think there actually were bugs in the implementation, but so they're like being like, oh, look, let's fix this piece of code that's breaking. And then they're just committing fixes to the backdoor, and like OSS is like, oh, good call, finding bugs. That's great.
Fixing bugs in your backdoor. Like, I mean, there's something about that just has to hurt a little bit. Yeah. The Valgrind bugs mentioned were introduced by this malicious injection as noted in the email to OSS security. Subsequently, the injected code, more about that below, caused Valgrind errors and crashes in some configurations due to the stack layout differing from what the backdoor was expecting. These issues were attempted to be worked around in 5.6.1. So that must be when they disabled a lot of the like any of the environment variables saying like, hey, this thing is any form of debugging. Is that when that kind of stuff came in?
I'm not sure the major differences between 5.6.0 and 5.6.1. I know a lot of additional obfuscation and symbol stripping was done in 5.6.1, but in terms of the actual like how it checks the environment, I haven't observed that yet.
Okay, that's all when all the fixing was happening.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of fixing. A pull request goes to a library by a 1Password employee is opened asking to upgrade the library to the vulnerable version. However, it was all unfortunate timing. 1Password reached out by email referring to me to this comment, and everything seems to check out. A Fedora contributor states that Jaya was pushing for its inclusion in Fedora as it contains great new features. I mean, that does feel like a scam.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, that's the thing, right? And I'm hoping that if GigaChad at Microsoft hadn't caught this, the rest of the maintainer community would have been like, why is this one guy pushing really hard for an XZ update? Like, what's going on with this? And then seeing
especially
the
with great
commits.
new features.
Yeah, like we made CRC64 a little faster on Intel. Like, all right, what are you doing over there?
Why does this seem to be so important?
Right.
All right, Jaitan also attempted to get into Ubuntu days before the beta freeze. A few hours after all this came out, GitHub suspended. You know, like the funny part is maybe if less pushing would have happened, it might have actually got in.
Yeah.
You know, like just let the long, slow game just keep on going. It's so funny that they could play the slow game for multiple years.
Yeah.
And then right as it got near, they couldn't handle the edging any longer and just went all in.
They're just like, oh, fuck, man. Like, yeah, like
we're almost dead, boys.
Just let the actually community do their thing, right? Like, if people saw in Fedora that they didn't have the most recent XZ, they would have pushed for it themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, guys, how are we not using cutting-edge software? Like, let it happen, and then it would just happen. But this one guy like couldn't handle the fact that his baby wasn't being included everywhere. He got caught.
Man, that is so wild. Oh, I'm gonna see. Chat, do you have any insight that we're missing, by the way, right now? Chat, I like to let you guys have a chance to say anything because all right, so there's that everything you need to know. That's the one I'm reading. Any insight, anything that we need to know? Any binaries you want me to run? LTake, get out here. People love to say LTake because they just want to see me lose it. They're just like, oh, what'd you say? LTake.
The sky's blue. LTake. Fuck you. Okay.
Every time. They know they'll trigger me. All right. So after a few hours this came out, GitHub suspended Jayati's 7.5 account. Thanks. They also banned the repository, meaning people can no longer audit the changes they made. Yeah, that was unfortunate. Immensely helpful, GitHub. They also suspended Last Collins' account, which is a completely I mean, I don't actually agree with it being completely disgraceful, right? This is obviously a very long play, and if you could trust this is like the Dark Forest. For those that haven't read the 3 Body Problems, sorry. Like, it's just better to blow, just to destroy everything than to wait for the answers to come out. And so this feels like a reasonable response. Yeah, right?
Like the most trustworthy thing, open source software, the trust has been violated. So therefore, you must violate all the trust temporarily to figure out what the hell is going on. So again, unfortunate if Mr. Collins is having like mental health issues or is burnt out, but like unfortunately, I think the right answer is to like for right now disable his account. But I do agree that taking the repos off of GitHub felt counterintuitive because like while you don't want it to spread any further, you also do want to leave it out for the research community to figure out what's going on with it. And it made it very difficult for even me like to find the right version that has the backdoor, right? Luckily, the Wayback Machine like archived it, but still.
Oh, really? Okay, nice. You got the Wayback Machine helped you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the surprising part is that this obviously exploded. It was a very high visible thing, and so I think even just like a warning or some sort of banner or anything like a disabling any further changes to the to the project, any sort of notification would probably been a lot more meaningful to GitHub than suspending it.
Prime, someone in your chat just put a link to a proof of concept. I'm gonna go see if I can find that. You can keep doing your thing. I just want to see if this is legit or not.
Okay. Am I about to get backdoored?
Maybe.
Here we go. Here we go, boys. Okay. Interesting. Okay, did someone finally figure this out?
It looks like someone. If this is real, this has like the implementation to use the backdoor.
It's called XCBot. Yeah, I'm not falling for this one. Where's the EXE?
I made some small commits with some features. Don't mind these binary test files. Just run this code. It's fine.
Just run it, dude. Blasting at the back door. Why is there code? Okay, yeah, I'll let you look at that, but I'm gonna keep it. Yeah. You can run that later. I don't want to run anything right now.
Yeah.
I'm not set up to be a security researcher. I will just literally own my system, and that is it.
Nice.
All right. Let's see. LAS has begun reverting changes introduced by Jaya, including one that added a sneaky period to disable the sandbox. They also added a published FAQ and began to explain the situation. Okay, cool. So, again, it doesn't look like it's probably targeted. Okay, so created this one. Released tarballs, contained that one. Anything? I assume this is all everything. Let's see. I have access to the main Takani org website. Git Takani org repos related. Jaitan only had access to things hosted on GitHub, including XC. Okay, so that's how he got that subdomain going, is because that was on GitHub. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as targeting,
I got ads for Swedish NSA. Coincidence? Someone's getting ads right now on Twitch for Swedish NSA.
An intelligence agency? What? Hold on. Swedish NSA. Let's look that shit up. Swedish Security Service, the Triple S. Wow, look at that.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
All right, anyways. OSINT, various people have reached out to me just regarding the discoveries about the identity of Jaya. Some of this has been incorporated into the timeline, but other stuff is timeless, so I'm going to put it here. IRC, I just received an email that clarified a few points and provided new insight into the situation. Jaya Tan was present on the IRC channel, nice, on Libra Chat. Who is revealed their connecting IP and activity. Oh, dang, just dropping IPs right now. Woo. Running an nmap on the IP shows a lot of open ports, which probably indicates a proxy, hosting provider, or something of that sort. The IP is from Singapore. Further research shows that the IP belongs to Watopia VPN, so it's not entirely indicative of a region. Given the time zone, however, I feel like proximity becomes plausible. Okay. Interesting. It's getting deeper. Yeah. Important notes on LinkedIn. Nice. I've received a few emails alerting me to LinkedIn of somebody named. Oh man, poor people who have this name today.
Sucks.
Dude, this is like being the Devin of security right now. Just totally sucks to be that guy. I woke up and Twitter hated me. Their bio boasts of large-scale vulnerability management. Ooh. They claim to live in California. Is this our man? The commits of Jaya T75's GitHub are set to plus 800, which would not indicate presence in California. UTC 800 would be in California. Most of the commits were made between UTC 12 and 17, which is awfully early for California. In my opinion, there is no sufficient evidence that the LinkedIn being discussed is our man. I think identity theft is more likely. But of course, I'm open to more evidence. Ooh, yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. Pick somebody that already has a well-known, credibility.
Sure. I mean, okay, so you're saying, identity theft, someone stole their account, and Jiatan on LinkedIn is real. Because I was saying, why would homie make a false persona and then also make a LinkedIn that's them? You know what I mean? I didn't check that math. But, yeah, maybe someone, we were saying before, stole their account and made those commits at the very end.
Well, maybe not even steal their account. Just make an account that's named Jai1075, right? And then it just happens to share a name with a large-scale vulnerability management person, right? So if someone starts trying to check and find this person, there's this really nice, high-cred LinkedIn profile, one could say, that has a bunch of information. And, again, if we're playing the long game, which it sounds like they are, it seems like they're trying to until the end, that would be a very good way to kind of establish incidental credibility.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, discoveries in the Git logs. I received an email from Minhu Wang, who investigated the Git log and found one instance where Jaya's username was different. Oh.
Ooh.
Okay. Ooh, look at that. Jia Chongten.
Chongten. Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
They found this particularly interesting as Chong is a new information. I've now learned from another source that Chong isn't Mandarin, it's Cantonese. This source theorized that Chong is a variant of the surname as Eong matches. I'm kind of out of my waters here. I'm out of my depth.
I don't know Chinese.
I mean, Mandarin's easy version of Cantonese, too, so Cantonese is even harder. A Cantonese romanization standard, and Cheong is pretty common in Hong Kong as an official surname romanization. A third source has alerted me that Jaya is Mandarin, as Cantonese rarely use J, and especially not Ji. The Tan last name is possible in Mandarin, but is most common for the Hokkien Chinese dialect pronunciation of the character that. Cantonese, Chan, Mandarin, Chen.
Oh, I see what they're saying. Okay. Yeah, so they're asserting that, like, that name isn't a real name, right? Like, it's someone who wanted to pretend they were Chinese, but when they put those syllables together, like, that name is not plausible in Chinese.
Yes, it's both Mandarin and Cantonese, so it appears confusing, at least to the onlook. Or to a layman like me, I would have no idea.
Yeah, much like someone who Mablob, it's like, that looks fine, but it's like, if you know what we're talking about, it's like, oh, that ain't correct.
It's pretty much a binary attack for me. You got me. Like, I would have no idea.
Love it.
All right, then there's a bunch of footnotes. So, Joey, appreciate that. Here, I'm gonna put I'll put a little Joey link for Hachyderm. Oh my goodness, why can't I press enter? Ugh. Oh, it's because it's adding Joey and adding Hachyderm. Oh, that's kind of funny. There you go. So there you go. People can have non-standard name. Yeah, people can have non-standard name, but I assume, oh, nice. I'm the 400th, I'm 420,000 visitor. Let's go.
So close to 426.9.
I know, I was so close. I know, I was only off by just like 100. I'm receiving $16.28 per week from 7 patrons. My goal is $20.
Cat, get in there and gift that man cash money. He's literally doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, here you go. If anyone would like to give a payout, here you go. What a very nice $5 a month.
$5 a month, yes.
$5. All right, so there's one other note that we did. Oh, by the way, so this will be something that will probably be looked at later. Will probably come out as whether it's true or not or what. I'm very curious about that. But it looks like right here is that it looks like it's being done as root. Is that the exploit that we're seeing right here?
Oh, I'm trying to watch what's happening. Watch point. I mean, I think that first line is them watching OpenSSL getting hooked. But what the rest of it is, I can't really tell.
The SSH is on. I assume that's user 1234, and then does something, an ID redirected to tempxz, and then tempxz is now set to user 0.
Oh, you know what? No, I think what's happening is they said recently that the backdoor not only is a credential backdoor, but it gives the person using the backdoor RCE, like a shell, onto your computer. So that may be them auditing the child shell that's forked off from SSHD and showing you that it has root or something. Because if you're running SSHD runs as root and then spawns off the child process as the user. But if you have code execution at that top level, you are root, right? So maybe they're showing that.
Yeah. Okay. So that would be potentially what it is. Because at least I'm seeing right here that we're rooting, boys. We're rooting hard right now. Again, not going to execute this on my computer. I'm not set up for that. I don't have a VM. I don't got anything.
All the cool kids are doing it, man. Come on.
Double rooting. Just come on. Just come on. Just execute the code. Just tell me your name. Just tell me your real name. Hey, I appreciate you being on here and taking the time to go over this. I think there was one more item we could have looked at. I'm not sure if it's any real updating. I think it's just simply about the burnout. More about like about open sourcing right here.
Yeah. And
so this was published a day later on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And so this has to do with, I think, open sourcing. And just kind of like the struggles. Yeah, you can see it. I'm sorry about your mental health issues. Okay, so this is like them pressuring LAS effectively to do all the dirty work unknowingly.
Poor guy, dude. Like,
Yeah,
he
poor guy.
stressed out open source maintainer, and now he's like the the linchpin in a nation state supply chain operation. Like, absolutely crazy.
It is. Oh, cool. Right up on the Bash stage update. So there is a Bash one. Maybe.
Yeah. So the two intermediate stages were they were modifying the make file to force the inclusion of one of those LZMA blobs. So there's like a Bash stage that creates a make file, and then the make file rips apart that other LZMA blob to expose the backdoor, and then includes that in the build process.
Okay.
And this guy breaks down like how that all works, because again, like everything else in this whole system, it's all very heavily obfuscated.
All right. Do you want to go over this? Do you have time?
Sure, have time. Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday, Andres Friand emailed this one. Okay, so we saw all this one. This is about the backdoor. So before we begin, we have a few notes. First of all, there are two versions of xzlib_lzma affected, 560 and 561. Differences between them are minor. This one contains some nice Valgrind fixes, right?
Yeah.
There's some real good bug fixes for that backdoor.
Features.
Yeah, just the features are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Differences between them are minor, but they do exist. I'll try to cover them both. Secondly, the bash part split into 4 stages of interest, which I have named stage 0. That's the start of the code in M4 build to host M4. And stage 2, I'll touch on potentially stage 3 as well, though I don't think it's fully materialized yet. Please also note that obfuscation/encrypted stages and later binary backdoor are hidden in 2 test files.
Yeah.
Man, this is such an impressive. Oh, look, good large compressed. We actually looked at good large compressed.
We love that one. Yeah.
We love that one. It's aptly named nicely. As pointed out by Andres, you know what is so brilliant is hiding the backdoor code in legitimate test code. Like, this could actually be legitimate actual test code right here. That's not even, that's actually showing that things are being compressed well. And then a section of it you pull out and combine with some other testing file that actually becomes the... it's
crazy
brilliant.
Is that in that second file, the backdoor is compressed with LZMA. So to extract it, you have to use backdoor to LZMA to open it up to build LZMA. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like this meta brain explosion of how they included this in the build process. Who is Flip? Flip is Prime's dad.
Yeah, Flip is my editor. He edits all my videos. He's been so a little quick story about Flip is that him and I started playing Fortnite together a long time ago. And he was a young fella, didn't have any idea what he wanted to do with his life, and I bamboozled him into being my editor, and I promised him 50% of whatever I make in YouTube ads.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's wholesome as hell, man. That's great.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you saw this, but I just crossed 100 million views on YouTube combined.
Let's go. Very cool.
And so Flip started off where it took us months to get to just even monetizing. And if you don't know, if you can monetize, it means you're making pennies a day.
Right.
That's what monetizing means, is now you are officially allowed to make your 1 cent.
I think the first day I got monetized on YouTube, I made 64 cents. Like,
dude, damn.
Yeah. It's so
Flip,
bad.
don't cry. Flip, don't cry. Don't cry, Flip. Anyways, big fan of Flip. And so if I ever do a sponsored ad read also on any YouTube, we split that too.
That's awesome.
Split that 50-50. He was there for years when we made nothing. So
and now it's paying off, dude. That's great.
Yeah.
I love to hear that for him. That's really cool.
Yeah. And so what a great, I just think it's a great story personally. I don't know if you guys think it's a great story. I think it's a great story because it's cool. All right, stage 0. So I forgot where we were. My kid came in, just let me know that one of the other kids is trying to watch TV and causing all sorts of ruckus. So I know.
Kids being a tattletale.
Kids being a tattletale. Anyways, as pointed out by Andres, things start in build to host M4 file. Here are the relevant pieces of code. Again, I like TR. TR is wild. Like, I'm trying to even read this TR. We're replacing tabs with spaces, spaces with tabs, dashes with underscores, and underscores with dashes.
Yeah, it's a cluster. It's just
like how would you even read that? Like, this is a wild looking at it.
It's like regex,
just inverted
right? Like,
all this. Yeah.
If you saw this in a commit, it's like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I wouldn't know what to do with this. I would just be like, yeah, I'm sure you committed this for a reason, I'm sure. So, okay, go ahead.
But it's test code, so looks good to me, crazy test code.
Right.
I really hope I don't have to debug this later. Can you put a comment as why?
Yeah. Well, no. So this one is actually in the build process. So this one hooks how configure generates the make file. But even then,
and this makes sense.
it's so deep in the process that it's like as long as it builds still, I trust you. You know what I mean? And again, going back to the trust issue with open source software,
Yeah.
like I trust that this commit works. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and it passed all the everything check marks.
Right.
So, all right, this code, which I believe is run somewhere during the build process, extracts stage 1 script. Here's an overview. Bytes from test files bad3 corrupt LZMA2 XZ are read from the file and outputted to a standard output/input of the next step. This chain of steps is pretty typical throughout the whole process. After everything is read, a new line is added as well. Okay, so that would be like how the malicious attacker is able to tell each kind of like little section is that you wait for you hit that new line and then you call it a day. The second step is to run tr translate, as in map characters to other characters or substitute characters to target characters, which basically changes selected characters or byte values to other characters or other byte values. Let's work through a few features explained. Echo bash to tr. Okay, so we kind of did this. This would make, yeah, there you go. As you can see, A is replaced with 1, B is replaced with 2, and then 3 and 4 aren't used, and you can see BA is 2, 1. So there you go. TR, pretty great utility, by the way. Solved one of the advent of code with TR.
Oh, no way. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, TR is great stuff.
AOC last year was hard as hell, by the way. Just putting that out there.
I only got to like
used
day
to be
10
one-liners. Now it's just pain.
I don't know about this whole one-liners. Like 6 years ago, it was the int computer for the Apollo something or whatever it was. And that was extremely difficult.
Yeah.
I gave up after some time. All right.
I was too.
Always give up. Hashtag. Let's see. Instead of characters, we can specify ranges of characters. In our initial example, we could do AB to A-D. Oh, okay. Okay, I actually didn't know that. Okay, cool. Similarly, instead of specifying characters, we can specify their ASCII codes in octal. So, okay. Now we're getting more confusing. Now I'm completely
lost. It's much harder to read. All right, very good.
It is much harder. This can also be mixed, e.g., would create a set of A, B, C, D, then numbers 1 through 9, then letters octal 111, J, K, L, and M, octal code 115. Oh, wow. Okay, so you can really, that's crazy. I did not know that. Today we learned about TR. Yeah. This is true both for the input characters and the target characters. Oh, crazy. All right, so going back to the code, we have this, which just replaced the space and tabs, right? Yeah, space and tabs, dashes, and underscores. So this all looks very like, I guess I wouldn't be very surprised about this, which does the following. In the bytes, let's see, replaces tabs with spaces, white space with tabs, dashes with underscores, and underscores with dashes. This actually uncorrupts the bad corrupted, which forms a proper XZ stream again.
Oh my God. Okay, I didn't realize that. That's amazing. So it's supposed to be a file used to fuzz LZMA, and it's corrupted, quote unquote, right? That's on purpose. But with that one line of bash, it uncorrupts it. So now it's a real LZMA stream. I'm a real boy, and then you can decompress it, and out pops a real thing.
Oh, that is so clever. Dude, and because it's such like a standard thing. Like I wouldn't really bat an eye at this because nothing in this looks harmful.
Right. Exactly.
It looks like, oh, okay, they're just like changing a couple characters, right? Like it looks like you're base 64/URL decoding, right? You're adding those like that little extra transform right at the end to help it do a URL encoding. Yep. Oh man. Okay, I would have not seen this. The last step, this is why I'm not a security researcher. In this last step of the stage, the fixed XZ byte stream is extracted with errors being ignored. The stream seems to be truncated, but that doesn't matter as the whole meaningful output has already been written out. The outcome of this is stage 1 script, which is promptly executed. Okay. Yep. So this is where the chunking begins. Because there's a little picture down here, which I think I understand now.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. In Andre's email, that's the bash that starts with hello, which is pretty short. So let's present it here. Differences between 5.0 and 5.6.0 and 5.6.1, marked with black background. A few binary bytes here, but as the comment, let's see, but that are ignored. I don't get this. Why have the same thing over and over again?
Yeah, again, I think maybe it's to make it look like a proper fuzzing file, right? Like, 'cause in fuzzing, you have a lot of just repetition to make the parsers confused. So we may have hit it like that in the LZMA compression so that when it got decompressed, it looked like it was like a repetition, but it actually mattered for the script. But yeah, but why you do that same line 6 times, I'm not sure. Obviously, they're doing this so that you're targeting Linux exclusively, but why do it 5 times? I couldn't tell you. That's very odd.
So I would say, are you ready for this one? Because this line looks so obvious. Why do this? Because this is a bash script, right? So you shouldn't even worry about having to execute the same thing a bunch of times. But this right here, look at that, threw in a little extra. You may not be able to see the color difference. It's kind of hard to see the color difference. But now adds a little bit of TR ranges right here.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like something sus went down right here.
And then, and then XZ decompresses it, which is the crazy part. Like at the very end of that, and pipe it into XZ. Like, you're backdooring XZ. It's crazy.
And then pipe it into bin SH.
Yep.
Like that. Okay, so that probably should have been like a big warning right here, is that SH is being executed after all of this.
Right. Well, I mean, no one even got to this part though, right? This was like, in that
they hit right here, and they're just
LZMA.
like, shh. Oh yeah, that's right. It was in.
So like you would have to have
you didn't even
known
see this.
that the LZMA blob was corrupted, know how to uncorrupt it, then decompress it, then you see this. So no one ever got here until obviously it was found, right? But yeah, still insane.
Okay. Oh man, that's wild. And then when they saw this, it may not be obvious what's happening.
Right.
This would have been the winner right there. Right. All right. The first difference are random bytes in the comments of the second line, right here. I'm not sure if these differences are meaningful in any way, but wanted to note that. The check whether the script is running on Linux was added in 5.6.1, and the fact that it's repeated 5 times makes it pretty funny. Was someone like, oops, I forgot this last time, and it caused issues. Better put it 5 times as an atonement?
Yeah, like what?
Okay, so everyone's equally confused at why 5 times. If Jayatan could clarify this one, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, please.
Yeah, please. We'll get back to the renaming differences later, but for now, let's switch to stage 2 extraction code, which is that huge export I, which is that big weird head thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, even more interesting that it throws it on an export. So you don't even, you may not even see it. That's now just a part of something that can be executed at some point. Right? Because I assume you're going to want to...
Oh, later it eval eyes. See that? In that pipe after the LZMA compressed right there.
Hold on, I'm not even seeing it. Hold on. It might take me a moment.
No, you're good.
Test.
Right there.
Right there?
No, up one to the right. Eval eye.
But
so it's like it exports that output into the environment and then runs the output of that as bash.
Okay.
Eval. You know what I mean?
Okay. Gosh, I'm too stupid for this. All right. The first difference. Oh, look at this. The second one is also decompressed. Good large compression LZMA and piped as input to this one.
To eval I. Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, so it is so that's that. Oh, wow. That's very, very, very smart. I'm not sure. Okay, I understand it now. So the actual attack script was in good large compressed.
Yep.
And it was hidden in the bad code, which contained failing decompression. And this was produced out by the failing code, which actually then used the good code hidden in plain sight and chopped up to get it out.
Right, to get out the backdoor, which is then injected to the build process, which is the next stage I'll talk about. It's wild, dude. Like this is one of the most sophisticated backdoors ever.
All right, the check whether the script is running on Linux was added in 5.6.1, and the fact that it's repeated 5 times. Oh yeah, we already read that. We'll get back to the remaining differences later. But for now, let's switch to stage 2 extraction code, which is a huge export I line with lots of heads. As previously, let's go step by step. Export I at the beginning is basically just a function definition. It's being invoked in step 3 as well as stage 2. So we'll get to it in a second. Let's see. The first actual step in the extraction process of stage 2 is the decompression of the good large compression LZMA file to the standard output. This as previously states starts a chain of outputs of one step being used as inputs to the next. Okay, so this is where so we assessed it correctly. It actually is the problem. Now we get to the I function invocation, eval I. This function is basically a chain of head calls that either output the next n bytes or ignore the next n bytes. At the very beginning, we have something like this. Okay, so it grabs the first 2 to the 10, outputs it. The C 2 to the 10 option tells head to read the output only to the next 1024 bytes. Oh, the -C doesn't consume everything. It only reads some of it. Is that what happens? From the incoming data stream. Oh, note that the plus is ignored, but it doesn't do anything unlike tail. However, since the output is redirected, in this case to dev null, what we effectively get is skip the next. Okay, very clever, extremely clever.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Head is skipping. Wow. Okay, I didn't even know that about head. I didn't know you could. I didn't know that if you had a stream, you could skip it for a bit of time.
So he wrote like a file parser, like a file carver in Bash using the head flag nuances. It's insane. Bad
Cop right now is just loving this.
Yes, exactly.
This is a good moment to note that if we look at the first 1,024 bytes in the uncompressed data stream from a good large compressed LZM file, it's basically the A character repeated 1024 times. Yep. To add a bit of foreshadowing, after the first 2 to the 10 characters, there is some binary data. The next head call looks almost identical with a different length. Yep. Grab the next, 2 to the 11 out. Note that in this case, the output is not ignored. It will actually be passed to the next step as input. This pattern repeats. 1024 bytes are ignored, then 280 bytes are outputted, 1024 bytes ignored, 280 outputted, and so on, until we get to the very end of the file where only 724 bytes in this one, or 939 bytes. Sorry, this is where I get really hard to read. In 561 are outputted. Okay.
Amazing. Yep.
Amazing. And the visualization is honestly the best right here.
Yes.
So the gray bars are A's.
Mm-hmm.
And the data is all in here, so it just puts it all together.
Yeah, this is an entropy graph. So when you're doing binary analysis, you can kind of see like what's going on in a binary by the entropy of the data, right? So when the colors are the same, the entropy is low, so it's all the same data. So they effectively take all those bytes that are the same using the 1024, carve those out, and then just leave the high entropy binary data, and that gets you the final like blob. It's sick.
That makes a ton of sense. Okay, so that's a super cool tool. In the next step, tail, -c, this big number, the initial portion of the data, what is that, 2 to the 15? The initial portion of the data is discarded. Spoiler, it hides the binary backdoor, which is extracted in the next stage, so it's not needed now. In 560, that would be the first 31264 bytes, and in 561, that's 1. Oh gosh, I can't read that anymore. You get it.
Yeah.
The off by 1 difference is because of tail. -c plus n means start outputting from byte n and not ignore the first n bytes. Had to do a quick bug fix.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Step 5 revisits the tr command, which in this case is used a very simple substitution cipher with key byte value mappings being different in 560 and 561. Okay, so they just literally just Caesar cipher this.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's kind of the same thing as a stage 1, just like make all the parts correct so that it's actually a binary now. It's not a LZMA stream.
Okay, so yeah, even if you had it from stage 4 or a step 4, it wouldn't actually work until you do this next one, because this is the one that actually, wow, this is like really trying to cover your tracks.
Yes, exactly.
In the last step, the deciphered data is decompressed. And let's see, and the resulting stage 2 is promptly executed. All right, so stage 2 is the infected text file attached by Andres in the original email. That's how 560 version, by the way. There's a lot going on in this bash script, as this is where the actual compilation process modification happens. From the perspective of obfuscation analysis, there are 3 interesting fragments to this script, 2 of which appear only in 561 version. So let's start with them, as they are as they are all also simpler. Wow. Sorry, hold on. Give me a break here. Can you tell me a quick story?
When my wife and I were in college, we went to Spain. My job was to buy the train tickets to go from Barcelona, where we were, to the airport we were going to leave from. I didn't do that. I bought the plane tickets for the wrong day. Or the train tickets rather. So we had to rent a car when we were like 19 with no money and drive across the country of Spain to make a 6 a.m. flight the next day. We weren't even like engaged then. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend, and the fact that we're still together like is amazing to me to this day.
Yeah, that's wife material right there.
Yeah,
Puts up with you in a car all night.
In a foreign country, manual. Neither of us drove manual. Like it was a good time. It was fun.
The Spain drive on left or right hand side of the road?
The right side. Thank God. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, man.
Disaster.
It is so hard. Like what I found is the left hand side is not that hard. The left hand side, but it's that all the signs are different. And there's this like C.S. Lewis quote about seeing something different for the first time means you can't even see it. Like you don't even have the ability to visually process it.
Oh,
so when I was driving around in the UK, I was like, dude, I can't even see a stop sign. Like I don't even see it because it's not the shape I'm used to. It's like my brain just erases the signs as they come flying by. It was so difficult.
I would be so nervous in the UK if I make a left turn that I would turn into the wrong lane. I would like make a left into the right. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very hard because you're trying to like, you're trying to make that, like, it just works out way different.
You're doing this spatial orientation in your head about like what lane is correct, and then you're just crashing into people. Yeah, I would kill a lot of people. It would not be good.
The struggle is real. All right, sorry, I needed a quick break because when I read too many numbers and letters, it's like I get momentum into my visual problem, and so now I've just demomentumed myself. Hopefully,
you flushed that brain cache. You're all ready to roll.
I'm ready to roll. All right, so let's look at fragment 1. All right, so VS equals, we do like a grep. I don't even know what those options are.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what O is. O specifically captures a group.
Yeah, O is only, A is for all for binary files. B, I don't know. I think R is recursive. No, capital R is recursive. I don't know what lowercase r is.
Yeah, I don't know any of these things. Anyways, okay, and so we're apparently just supposed to do tilde bang colon underscore W.
Oh my god, it's bro AF, chat. I just realized. That's funny. Grep bro AF.
Bro AF, dude. This man is bro AF.
Bro AF, let's go.
Dude, just giga dude, this whole thing is just giga chatted from the beginning to the end.
Well, on the good and the evil side, like the evil guys are like giga chad in their design, but the good side is a guy who noticed a half-second perf difference in SSH and they caught it. Like it's amazing.
This is all so good. All right, so we have some if statements. I don't even know what this means. Does not equal X, then it leaves. So it's doing a lot of stuff. I'm just gonna have him explain this because this is.
Yeah, I can explain this. So this is actually what Andres found in the liboss article, or sorry, the OSS security article. This is checking to make sure that the compiler you're using is GCC, that one of the expressions evaluates to yes, and that you're doing this on x86 64 Linux. I don't know how he figured that out from here, but I saw that the X patterns, the X variable patterns, is how he figured that out.
Yes,
so basically,
because
this is doing targeting.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So I was about to say, because this right here grabs something out, and then this string constructs X plus whatever it grabbed out.
Yeah.
If it doesn't equal X, that means we're on something that must have been able to grab whatever this was produced, that must have grabbed the problem. So that's how this person knows that we've goofed up.
Exactly. Just making sure that we're on the right system. We're not trying to like compile this backdoor that was hard compiled for x86 on like ARM or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a lot of stuff in here.
This is all insane.
Yeah, we'll let someone explain it to me because I mean it's not even indented. It's like it's already expert mode bash, let alone with no indents.
Right, minify bash. Yeah, that's good.
Let's see. If these two fragments are pretty much identical, so let's handle them both at the same time. Here's what they do. Ooh, a little menage a trois here. First of all, they try to find grep broaf, 2 files in test files directory which contain the following bytes, signatures. Okay. Note that what's actually outputted by grep in this case has the following format: file name, offset, signature. For example, broafxy has this. Okay. If such a file is found, the offset for each file is extracted. Cut this, which takes the second field assuming is the field delimiter, and the first offset +7 and saves as the start. The second offset from the second file is saved as end. Wow, this is getting so intricate. Yeah, once the script has a start and an end offset, it carves out the part of the file that had the first signature.
I trust you, article guy. Like,
yeah,
I'm lost in the bash.
Lost in the sauce. I know this one because I have something called catter, I think is what it's called, and it's just cat with a range, so I can provide a range, and you tail the beginning, so it goes all the way to the beginning and then passes from the end to the beginning of what you want, and then head will only read the first so many characters to the end. So you effectively do a ranged slice out of the file.
Nice.
I call it catter.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a good one. And the follows is the first the substitute. Oh my goodness. And what follows is first the substitution cipher using 560. So here's that crazy cipher, and then decompressing the data for it to be promptly executed. Oh yeah, because it evals it.
Yep.
Dang. Note that in either of the investigation tar archives, 560 and 561, there were any files with any of the signatures. This whole thing basically looks like an extension patching system that would allow adding future scripts to be run in the context of stage 2. Nice. An extensible hack. So just in case you need to add some patch it live, you could do this pretty easily through extra scripts.
Add some more binary files that match a certain pattern. It'll get compiled into future versions. That is insane. Oh my God.
Dude, bro's out there making hackable NPM right now.
Literally, his own personal package manager for the globe. Can you imagine? Oh, dude.
Oh man, his hacks would get so confusing though, because then you'd have to have like version to binaries depending on what version of XZ you have.
Yeah, right.
He's about to have version hell.
Can you imagine a code review on this guy's team? You didn't use the TR right here. You got to use this range. Like, dude, I'm lost. Oh man.
Without having to modify the original payload carrying test files, which makes sense, as modifying a bad and good file test files over and over again is pretty suspicious. Yeah. This is super well thought through. So the plan seemed to be just add new test files instead, which would have been picked up, deciphered, and executed. This is so smart that, man, like this is truly a law. I mean, they really had to think about this for an extended period of time of how they're going to do it. Plus adding this, like they not only were they going to put in a back door, but they had plans to be able to just even do more and more and more, which is like, this is such a well thought through.
Yeah, and it really begins to beg the question, like, are we sure it's one guy, or is this an organization of people that are thinking through, like, how do we maintain this system for years, right? Like, how would you do it? Oh, make a patchable bash extension system like this, right? Because one guy, like, why would one guy engineer this? You know what I mean? It's insane.
Yeah. I'd be very skeptical if one person did it all, because it is exceptionally difficult work here. Especially the bash. As pointed out by Andres in the original email, at some point, an.o file is extracted and weaved into the compilation/linking process. The following code is responsible for that. Again, differences between versions marked with black background.
The 8192 is highlighted. It's very hard to see.
There you go. Okay, so there's a little bit of extra. So something else happened here. I'm not really sure what we're looking at. The differences between versions boil down to the size of the compressed but somewhat mangled payload. That's 88792 in 560 and 88664 in 561. And one value changed in the awk script, to which we'll get in a second. Okay. Man, you should have had a more extensible packing system. It's too obvious now. I mean, I would have caught that one.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Easy.
Obviously.
Easy. As in all previous cases, the extraction process is a chain of commands, where the output of one command is the input of the next. Furthermore, actually, some steps are identical at stage 1, which makes sense since, as I've mentioned, the binary payload resides in the previously ignored part of the good file data. So let's take a look. The first step is identical to step 2 in stage 1. The test file's good large compressed LZMA file is being extracted with XC. Second step is to turn identical as step 3 in stage 1. That was a whole lot of heads function. Yep. Okay, we remember that. And here is where things diverge. First of all, the previous output gets mangled with the sed command. lc all c sed. What is this map? Okay, so this is a lower I fight when I fight in Kirby. So it's match the first character of anything. Put that into a match group. Right. Re-put that match group, and then put a new line. And then do it for everything. So it takes a line
from parentheses, and then take it out of them a new line.
Here. Oh my goodness, I am not in. There we go. Yeah, I can go like this. Test. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, here we go. If I take that, I go like this. S. So you do a little fight in one-eyed Kirby right here. Yeah. So this is a match group. It just matches the first character. /1 re-puts out that one, and then it does /n at the end, which for Vim is /r. And then we did a G at the end. So it just puts it all into one line.
Oh, I see. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay. What this does is actually putting. Oh, I guess we could.
Great.
Yeah. What this actually does is putting a new line character after each byte, with the exception of the new line character itself. So what we end up with on the output is a byte per line situation. Yes, there's a lot of mixing text and binary approaches to files in here. This is actually needed for the next step. Okay, very crazy. So just feeding one byte at a time here. The next step is an awk script. Man, this is so crazy. Awk, that's a simple scripting language for text processing. Simple is a very unique word choice here.
Yes.
Which does, as Mac pointed out for me, RC4-ish description of the input stream. Here's the prettified version of the script. Okay, I can't read that. Are you an awk person?
No, but I'm just going to trust that it's RC4, like a stream cipher. Cool.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, creating the stream cipher key, skipping this one, doing all that. You can kind of see this. I know that begin means this is like the processing. This is like you get a chance to do some stuff, the initialization part. This is the actual thing that runs, and then you can have an end at the end.
That's how RC4 works. You create using the cipher key, the lookup table for the replacement, and then like when it runs, you just do an XOR cipher on that lookup table. Right. So that's RC4. Boom.
Okay, and look at this. You can even see the XORs right here. They're talking about it.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
After the input has been decrypted, it gets decompressed. XZ single stream, and then the bytes from N0 to W 86 KB are being carved out using the same usual head tricks and saved as an lib LZMA _LA CRC 64 fast O, which is the binary final binary backdoor. So they even Caesar cipher, not Caesar cipher, just replacement ciphered, even their output, if someone were to discover it, it would look like a bunch of nonsense, and they did it even to the entire thing to create this O file.
Yep.
Wow. And then it does all this.
That's
awesome summary. Someone put a lot of effort into this pretty innocent looking and decently hidden. From binary test files used to store payloads to carving out substitution ciphers and an RC4 variant implemented in awk, all done with just standard command line tools. And all this in 3 stages of execution, and with an extension system to future-proof things and not have to change the binary test files again. I can't help but to wonder, as I'm sure the rest of our security community, if this was found by accident, how many things still remain undiscovered?
Yeah. And that's kind of like the scariest part about this whole thing, right? Is like, you think about this, you found that it was found on accident, it was committed fairly recently. How many other instances like this have gone on in the past? Where have people like this committed code? Like, for example, I think there is a speculation that Jia Tan had also committed to SquashFS, which is a compressed at rest like file system, right? So like, did he make similar contributions to test files that backdoored SquashFS, for example, right? So it begs this really scary question about like the current state of open source. Like how open source is open source?
Man.
Yeah.
And the worst part is that it's so obfuscated. I mean, my favorite part is, all the AI bros right now are just like, AI could have caught this. I don't think AI could have caught this.
No, doubt.
Doubt. Like, this is just so clever.
Yeah.
Dang. All right, there's a lot more summaries. Jonathan Blow talked about this before it was discovered that open source was vulnerable to this kind of attack. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knew this kind of attack could happen with open source, that a malicious character was able to somehow get in code. I'm just surprised that it's this. I mean, this is like, this feels, just because I'm ignorant in the security world, if you will, Mr. Low-Level Learning, due to me being so ignorant, this feels like it's from like the Terminator series. It's so, it's like it feels so clever that it's like, someone from the future wrote this.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing, is people always speculated that you could attack open source, but no one really knew how, right? Because, the nature of open source is that it's open source. Like, okay, just go read the code. But this is like the first instance where someone has proved like, oh yeah, dude, if you just figure out a way to incorporate a binary file into the build process and obfuscate it with the right this and that no one's going to look at, you could easily do this. So it's proven that it's possible, and it's proven that it may have happened in the past, and it maybe just never got caught. So truly scary times.
Hold on.
Yep.
People are sending me a video on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that we all knew the basics, which was that open source's biggest vulnerability was that a good actor got hacked and wasn't able to respond in time for someone to be able to publish out, like, say, a malicious NPM script or some way in which people really live at the edge.
Right.
Which is very unusual. Whereas this, on the other hand, this isn't at the edge. This is a multi-year plan.
Yeah.
So which is way, way more wild. Before GitHub bans TR. No, I mean, TR is just such a needed script. I've used TR what feels like hundreds of times. Anyways, okay, well, hey, thanks for joining me on this one. Thanks for shedding some light on a lot of the stuffs.
Thanks for having me. I had a blast talking about this. I think the stuff is so interesting. Like I said before, the scary question is, where else has this happened? And while that question is scary and is now being asked, I think it's also cool that we're looking, right? Like, people are actively probably scouring resources or repositories for binary blobs to see if other stuff has happened. So if they're out there, they're going to get caught, because this guy did. So, amen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the perfect storm, right? It's the perfect storm.
It really is.
Bash Cop. Look, Bad Cop. I was just mentioned to you. Look at all of this, Bad Cop. I mean, that was awk. Cover your eyes for a quick second. Look at how beautiful this is. Just bash everywhere. I mean, I don't want you to get too hot and bothered by all this, but I mean, they're bashing. They're bashing hard right now.
Brings a tear to my eye.
It's just a tear to my code review. I love awk. I know. Is awk the Lord's bash? Is that what I'm hearing? I'm not good at awk. I'm okay at sed, and I'm only okay at sed because of Vim. Because everything in Vim is like, if you can do it in Vim, it can be directly transferable to sed effectively. There's like a couple things that don't work, but it pretty much works. So if you ever want to do that, do the highlighting so you can see it happen, and then you can kind of like experiment with it. I usually get my sed commands correct in Vim, and then just copy paste them over into sed.
That's cool.
Yeah, because I can watch it go one at a time.
Nice.
Yeah, a little fun fact, you know.
There you
All right, hey, thanks. Here, where can we find you?
YouTube.com/c/level learning. That's me. I also do stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/level learning. Yeah, that's about it. Kind of just hanging out doing that stuff. Yeah, man.
All right, let me
Twitter as well.
You're low level tweeting on Twitter, right?
Low level tweets.
Twitter.com low level.
Because
tweets.
low level learning is too long for some reason, but yeah, man.
All right, let me make sure I link the right person. There we go. Awesome.
Hell yeah.
All right, and then I had the YouTube up earlier. Oh, hey, just in case the chat just needed to see this one more time. Just in case.
Feel like getting punched in the dick.
I absolutely love it. The feeling of being punched in the dick is definitely a vibe I want to keep for this whole.
All right, now that we got that done, if you don't know that one is a great scene where it says getting punched in the dick. And the guy's like, that's definitely the vibe we're going for in this video game. All right, it's Tarkov. If you've never played Tarkov, it's literally getting punched in the dick.
I haven't, but it looks like a lot like Rust, where it's just like constant pain, no success.
Yeah. It's a game. It's like playing Tetris. You only play to know you're about to lose. There's not actually a victory.
Love it. Cool. All right, brother. Thanks for having me. Appreciate
that. Take care.
See ya.